Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. We're getting very close to 14,000 subs, so it'd be really good if you're yet to subscribe to hit that button and strengthen the channel. We're going from strength to strength. We're getting more people are seeing the truth, and it's all thanks to people like you hitting that subscribe, so please do. Now, we've got a story here in the National, and again, it's one of those, it's behind the paywalls, and it's a pain in the backside. Because I know that some of you would love to actually read the article and you can't because you don't blame you for not paying money to the National of all things. Toilet roll, Pravda bog roll really, isn't it? But they have this story here and it's interesting to see their take on it because it turns out that even more of Sturgeon's ministers are being quizzed by the Operation Branchform police. It just seems that they're going back now and they want to question everyone again. Now, some will have been questioned once or twice. For some, this will be their first ever questioning. But they're not letting any stone remain unturned. I think it's gone, how do we put it, it's gone so far now that they just cannot not proceed. That makes sense. So they're going back and they're doing this. And it's more worries, of course, for Sturgeon because she wasn't universally loved. She was universally obeyed, of course. Nobody dares gainsay what she wanted. But she did create a lot of resentment. And she's got to hope that some of that resentment doesn't spill over into grassing her up, basically. Snitches get stitches, especially in the SNP. So they may have to be very careful about it. But we'll take a look. See what's going on. Here goes. So you see, it's in the National. It's Operation Branchform. Nicola Sturgeon's ministers quizzed by the police. This is sort of fresh news, really. Well, fresh at the time of recording. By the time you get it, it'll be several hours old. A little bit stale, but nonetheless. Some of Nicola Sturgeon's most senior cabinet ministers have been questioned by police as part of Operation Branchform. It has emerged last year. Former First Minister and husband Peter Murrell, well, they say husband. It is, after all, a lavender marriage. They were both arrested and released without charge as part of the probe into the SNP's finances. See 1,000 videos that we've done on all that. Now, detectives have interviewed a handful of members of her former leadership team, according to the Mail on Sunday. It's also being reported a new officer has been brought into the investigation, which insiders told the paper was part of an effort to run a fresh pair of eyes over the findings before the official report goes to the Crown Office. So this strikes me, this new officer coming in, as getting someone in to do sort of a final double check, proofread, sort out any obvious errors, things like that, because sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees and you can look at the same thing time and time and time again and you don't see it, and then a fresh pair of eyes comes in and go, oh yes, there, they pick up mistakes, and that's fine. And if that's what they're doing, they're bringing in this fresh officer's eyes for that it kind of indicates that perhaps things are moving to a head. We are getting slowly to a conclusion. Now, it will be the prosecutors who decide if charges are brought, not the police. Unfortunately, of course, the prosecutors are in the form of Dorothy Bain, a member of the Parliament, or the government, should I say, against whom these matters will be brought. Seems very odd, doesn't it? This, of course, is what dear friend Roger has been fighting against. So that's Roger Livermore, for those who aren't regulars. Roger Livermore's been fighting against this and sort of saying that you shouldn't have the prosecution as part of the or the justice system as part of the government, because this sort of thing can happen. Dorothy Bain, there's nothing stopping Dorothy Bain sitting there looking at this going, oh yes, I mean, if I put this to the court, it'd obviously be guilty, but no case to answer, and signs it off. Can happen. Anyway, a source said a new senior investigating officer was put in charge about 3 or 4 months ago to have a proper read across everything. There's been a lot of toing and froing between the police and the Crown Office. There have been interviews done with former cabinet ministers who were in position when Sturgeon took over. Another source told the paper the Crown Office would have to make a decision sooner rather than later, with a general election on the horizon. Now, one of the little side points on that is that some people are saying, oh, you can't bring charges now, it will look bad just at the start of an election, it might have an interference on the election. I would suggest the other way round. Bring the charges now, because you don't want the risk of having crooks voted into office. So bring the charges now, let people see what is happening and give them informed knowledge so that when they go to the polls, they can choose whether to vote for criminals or not, or at least perceived criminals, rather than voting for people who are yet to be charged and then they get charged afterwards. That way, it will affect the outcome of the election either way. But I think it's better that the truth is out first rather than later. Anyway, the Operation Branchform probe, launched in May 2021, is focused on how around 600,000, blah, 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 blah. We know all that. Not going to go through that again. In January, First Minister Humza Yousaf addressed the issue of the police investigation into SNP finance, saying it clearly affected the public perception of the party. Quite right, and he doesn't like that because he knows what the public perception of the party is. It's that they are all a bunch of crooks. And they'd be right. He said the inquiry has been one of the most difficult times for the SNP and that he must work hard to rebuild trust. Oh, it's far too late for that, because it's not just trust in the party, it's trust in you, Humza Yousaf, and nobody trusts you or ever will. And he only said the other week, didn't he? That was last week. That he wishes the whole thing would go away. He said it's a very big distraction at a time when they don't need it. He says it would just be great if it could go away. I think that was him not speaking to the press, not speaking to the people, but making sure that Dorothy Bain understood what needed to be done. Seems very suspicious, doesn't it? And now, if there is no charges here, you have to ask how much of an input has Bain had. Anyway, an SNP spokesperson said these issues are all subject to live police investigation. The SNP have been cooperating fully with the investigation. That's a lie. And will continue to do so. That's also a lie. However, it is not appropriate to publicly address any issues while that investigation is ongoing. Yes, it is. You're perfectly entitled to do so. Even the police said that. You're just scared. Running scared. Craven. Because you know that the truth is so amazingly damaging. But there you go. They're all being re-questioned. New officer in to oversee. Let's hope it draws to a conclusion and charges are laid before an election is called. Let people see who the crooks are. Coming up. It's quite clear to see that they're all worried about this, aren't they? I mean, obviously, Sturgeon and Murrell and Beattie are, because they're the ones likely to go to prison. But there's others involved who may well yet be sort of encompassed in, face charges, be added to the sheet, be sitting in the dock with them. And that's just, of course, for this crime. There's other crimes as well being investigated. There's no limit, is there, really? It'd be fantastic. And I'd love to see Humza arrested too. I think he's probably close, because he always boasts about how close he was to all this. So it'd be great if he was arrested too, wouldn't it? Charged in the dock. God, it'd be like a wet dream. Anyway, it's all speculation. I'll stop there. Do please hit that subscribe button. Like I say, we're very close to 14,000. It'd be absolutely fantastic to get that. Do please also hit the like button. That helps the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.